Hey, it's Zach at Pello Fitness, and today I wanted to talk about, what's better. Is doing an aggressive diet, losing a lot of weight up front better, or is doing it slower, building sustainable habits better? Now, this might seem obvious, but there's definitely been some studies on this, and it's been pretty interesting. So, first of all, if you can hear me, go ahead and like the post and give me a shout out, please. And first of all, what do you think is better? Is it a fast diet or is it more of the sustainable diet? So, one of the diets, basically, what they took was they took a bunch of people and they said, we want you to lose 12.5% of your body fat. So, I'll break that down for you. So, a 200-pound individual, they're looking to get them to lose 25 pounds. Okay, so let's keep math simple. Let's just stick with that right there. So basically, they took these people and they put them into two groups. They both needed to lose 25 pounds. One group, they said, we're going to get you to lose 25 pounds in 12 weeks. And that's a pretty aggressive fat loss strategy to lose 25 pounds in 12 weeks, losing 2 pounds a week. That's actually a lot. And then the other group, they put them in a group for 36 weeks and said, you're going to lose 25 pounds in 36 weeks. So you can see the difference there, right? So the 12-week group, they're going to be in a really big, fast, aggressive fat loss phase. The 36-week group, it's slower, it's easier, right? Okay, well, this is what they found. They found that with the 12-week group, there was an 80% completion rate. So 80% of the people who did the 12-week program that lost the weight quicker stuck to the plan. Now, give me a like if that surprises you. Now, in the 36-week group, only 60%, just over 60% of people actually stuck to the plan. So this is really interesting, right? So you had the more aggressive diet, people were able to stick to the diet better than the diet that was longer and slower. Hey, thanks for hopping on, guys. I appreciate it. If anybody does hashtag coaching call in the comments, I'll put you in the drawing for a free coaching call. Also, right now we're talking about what's better. Is dieting fast better or dieting slow better? Okay, so that's pretty cool. So just make sure to watch this from the beginning if you are watching this as a replay. So this is really interesting stuff. These people who did the 12-week diet actually stuck to the plan better than the 36-week diet group, which was easier. So they were able to eat more food. And yet, for some reason, they couldn't stick to the plan. Well, this might be due to the fact that maybe people just get diet fatigue. So time is a factor. It's not just how aggressive you diet, it's also how long you diet too. All right, and of course, we don't want to look at it as dieting. That's like a bad word, but I'm just using that word right now because that's what makes sense. So time is important too. And what I've seen in the studies is that people can do diets for about 6 months and then they really fall off. And this doesn't matter if you're doing keto diets, if you're doing macros, if you're doing the zone, Mediterranean diet, any of those people, that's when they fall off, is around that 6-month mark. So I think we want to try to keep our fat loss phases between 3 to 6 months max, right? Okay, so, but here's the other cool part about that study. So the group that lost weight faster, you probably are wondering, well, who kept the weight off? Okay, so this is really, really interesting. What do you think? Do you think the 12-week group that lost it fast, do you think they kept their weight off better? Or do you think the group that did 36 weeks of the diet? Actually, the 12-week group had better rates of keeping their fat loss off. So they watched them for 144 weeks after their fat loss. So they lost 25 pounds. And then they saw after 144 weeks, they compared the groups, the 12-week and the 36-week group, and a 12-week group that lost the weight faster won. They kept more of the weight off. Now, you might ask, why is that? Well, because it was only a 12-week diet. So they probably had energy, mental energy to keep pushing. And they probably maintained their weight really well. Or maybe even they might have lost more weight because they were so motivated. With a 36-week group, those people were done. They were like, I'm over this, I'm fed up, and then they fall off, right? Okay, so here's the thing. But we have to remember, Inga, that you're right. I mean, it is a lifestyle change over time. But it's okay to have fat loss phases and maintenance phases while building habits in that. Okay. So it's really interesting that people that only did it for 12 weeks actually kept the weight off for 144 weeks better than the other group because they had mental energy to keep pushing forward with their habits. It's really interesting. But here's the thing. So now, that 12-week diet and that 36-week diet was in a more controlled setting. Okay. Now, what happens when we throw people out in the wild in their everyday life? Okay, so this is another diet. This is really cool. I like this one. So this other group, they took two groups. They put one group on a 30% reduction in calories, okay, which is aggressive, just so you know. So if they burn 2,100 calories a day, they cut about 600 calories out of their diet. And then they put another group in a 10% reduction in calories. And again, this is in everyday life. It's not controlled. So these people are dealing with their kids or dealing with work. And what they found was the 30% calorie reduction group only was eating at 20% calorie reduction. So, and what they also found was that the 30% reduction group, the group that was dieting aggressively, just in everyday life, they were finishing all of their meals and they were still hungry after their meals. Whereas the 10% reduction group actually ate at a 20% reduction because they weren't finishing their meals. So it was almost like having that abundance almost made them eat less and feel better about it. So this is really interesting. You got this aggressive diet group that's not controlled, and you got this less aggressive group that's not controlled in the open, in regular life, right? And the aggressive group, sure enough, actually ate more food than they were supposed to. And then the group that had lower expectations, they ended up eating less food than they were supposed to. So it ended up, they both kind of met in the middle almost. So the 10% group and the 30% group almost, they got pretty close to the same fat loss. So it was really interesting. So anytime, we have to remember, like all these studies, we have to take a look at the big picture. So that first study I talked about, with the 12-week and 36-week group, that was a little bit more controlled. And then this second study I told you about with the 30% reduction in food and 10% reduction, this was not a controlled study. So it was like, what happens actually when you throw people in the real world? What actually happens? So it's obvious that it's not about an aggressive diet, okay? There's a balance and each person's different. And you have to remember that. And no matter what, if you want good results, you have to do something that you can stick to. And you might be in a place right now, maybe you can't stick to very much. And maybe you have to pick one or two different habits to work on because you're too busy. Life is stressful, right? So go and comment below. Tell me right now, what is one habit that you can change starting tomorrow? Go and post that below for me. That would be really, really great. And if you've enjoyed this live video, I'm going to keep doing them. I think it's something fun I can do and help you guys out. But if you're enjoying this, go ahead and share it. Please share this to your Facebook page. That really helps get out the information. But again, the whole point of this video was primarily, number one, just to open up your eyes that sometimes a fast diet, aggressive diet is okay. And sometimes a slow diet is okay. In the first study, it showed that the fast diet was better for short-term and long-term and maintenance. Okay. And it might be because people got motivation because they saw fast fat loss. So that can be beneficial. Are you that type of person? Right? Are you that type of person? And then in that first study, again, the slow diet didn't do as good. The people who did less aggressive didn't do as well. But then when we looked at the other study, again, in the other study, when people were in the real world, people couldn't stick to the 30% calorie reduction. It was too aggressive for regular life. The 10% calorie reduction people did as good because they could stick to it. It was easier. And actually they didn't even finish their meals because they felt full. They felt good. So again, thank you. I really hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday, and thanks so much for commenting. And yeah, I appreciate that. That's so cool. Thanks for hopping on here. And we'll do some more videos in the coming weeks. Take care.